So welcome everybody to our Reclaiming the Sky Resiliency Project, the kickoff for the project. We're doing this in concert with ACI NA, and Nancy Zimini, the COO, is going to be joining us today. And I'm going to let Nancy, when she comes, do a welcome. But just to give you some background, Reclaiming the Sky, my name is Tom Murphy, and I'm the author of Reclaiming the Sky. But I'm also the director, you see below, of the Human Resiliency Institute at Fordham. And as you see, we're doing this in collaboration with ACI NA. And when Nancy joins us, I'm going to, let her do a welcome. But let me just take you through the agenda for today. We've got young professionals who are our participants in the project, along with mentors who some of whom are featured in the book, who are going to be providing support for you throughout the project. So let me take you through the agenda. We're going to talk about the program goals as well as the implementation, how this is going to work. The purpose, as you see, is to give young professionals, tomorrow's leaders, an opportunity to learn resiliency skills from 9/11's aviation heroes. You see a photo on the right of Sue Bear. Sue was the general manager of Newark Airport on 9/11. For me, this is very personal. Sue is the one who in 1990 gave me my break into aviation. And I worked with her for 11 years leading up to 9/11. And following that, I could see that she was doing she took enormous steps on 9/11. But then in the days, weeks, and months that followed, she did as well to get her airport back up and running. And I could see evidence of that. So she's the one I started with. You see the second button there. This is a project offered by the Human Resiliency Institute at Fordham in concert with Airports Council Int'l. But what I wanted to do is start with Sue and go back to talk to colleagues of mine in Boston, New York, Newark, such as Sue and others, and Washington, D.C., both airport employees and airline employees, to ask them what were they doing to recover. And the concept is that those lessons, which you'll read in their stories, which they're profiled in Reclaiming the Sky, they're going to give you a lead into exploring how what they went through on that day, but then also following that to recover, to reclaim the sky or take back hope. So that's what we're going to be doing in the project. And you're going to meet today some of the mentors. You're going to meet some of the employees profiled in the book and the mentors as well. So let me start. This is a clip. It's only about a minute or two long. This is a program description. It's on the website, but for those who haven't seen it, let me start by just playing the video. Then we'll talk about it at the other end.
The morning of September 11th, 2001, broke blue and bright along the East Coast. Aviation workers across America came to work, expecting a normal day. Instead, they found themselves in the middle of a national attack, one in which their industry was used as the means. Reclaiming the Sky tells the story of aviation workers who rose up to meet the challenges. Flight attendants and pilots went back up into the air to get America moving again. Other aviation employees created charity projects to memorialize friends and colleagues. They worked tirelessly to make their airport safe and restore confidence in travel. It worked. America and Americans showed they would not be cowed. And aviation workers played a leadership role. Events occur in our lives that test us. How will we respond? Will we rise up? Where will we find the strength? We give you a chance to explore the lessons of courage in Reclaiming the Sky. Explore how you can apply the resiliency lessons of the 9/11 heroes to meet challenges in your life. The program is conducted by the Human Resiliency Institute at Fordham University, which offers the Edge for Vets program. For more information and to register, visit reclaimingthesky.com.
So again, there's the you saw the program description with the concept, and the concept is that the young professionals, you, those under 40 who work in airport jobs and airline jobs and service companies around the country, you're going to be tomorrow's leaders in the industry. And the thought is that the resiliency lessons, what the folks profiled in Boston, New York, and Washington in Reclaiming the Sky did, they can offer powerful lessons that can be useful to you, that you can use to develop resiliency tools. Obviously, you have them already, but enhance them, strengthen them to meet challenges in the future. Challenges that are not even named now. 9/11 happened, COVID happened, we've got AI. I mean, who knows what the challenges are that lay ahead? But the thought is, and this is, a program we're doing in conjunction with ACINA, is to do everything we can to develop, give you an opportunity to develop so that you have tools to be resilient when you are the leaders of the industry. And what I'd like to do is to introduce you to some of our mentors, because the concept is there's a book, and I'll go into all the details on that, how you'll read the book and read the stories. We'll come back later in July and have a discussion around it, around what the stories are, what you gleaned from it, what you learned, etc. But we've got some mentors who are volunteering, who are currently leaders, and they're volunteering to participate with you to give you feedback in this process. So we've got the stories, you're tomorrow's leaders, but we've got some mentors, and the idea is to bring everybody together to explore how the stories of the 9/11 heroes can be useful to you to develop tools to meet the challenges of the future. Saying that, I'd like to introduce you to the leaders there. You see the bulleted. Virginia Buckingham was the director of Massport on 9/11, wrote a wonderful book called On My Watch about that. And Jenny has offered to be a mentor and a judge in this contest. I don't see her on the call yet, but if she shows up, I'll give her a chance to say hello. Lisa Scully, who until recently was the general manager of LaGuardia Airport, lifelong career in the Port Authority, and was in the North Tower on 9/11. Lisa is traveling today, but she said that she's going to log on, and when she does, I'm going to give her a chance to say hello as well. John DeVal was the deputy director of operations at Logan, and can provide perspective for you on what Logan went through. You'll read the stories in the book, but like I say, John's going to be a mentor and give you feedback as you explore how what they did can be lessons for you. Jennifer Jewell is with Food Travel Experts. I don't see so far Jennifer on the call.
I'm here.
Are you there, Jennifer? Wonderful. Okay, so if you could, by the way, I have everybody muted, just to eliminate background noise. But if you're going to say something, please just unmute yourself. And Jen, let me give you a chance to say hello and just underscore for the folks in the cohort. We've got 25 young professional participants helping us to launch this project. And why don't you just underscore for them the value that the aviation industry sees in them, and the interest that we have to help develop them skills to be the leaders of the next generation.
Absolutely, it would be a pleasure. Good morning, everybody. And I'm here in Edmonton today, actually attending an ACI event live. So I do apologize for any background noise you might hear. I stepped away from the conference to participate in this call, but I just want to thank you, Tom. This is an incredible opportunity for me personally. I learned about the Resiliency Institute during COVID. I read about it. And when the email came across my desk about this program, I could not have been more excited. So I want to thank every single one of our participants and the mentors. I think that for your interest in this program and in this industry, and I look forward to working with all of you. I also wanted to say, if you don't mind, Tom, Food Travel Experts is our email address. Our company name is SSP America. So if you're Googling Food Travel Experts, you might wonder why you're not finding that. And that is why. But I look forward to talking with you all. Thank you.
Jen, thank you, and thank you for interrupting your conference to join us. And yes, we'll make sure that edit is done. Let me go back and introduce you. See the bullet ahead of Jen is Cedric Fulton. I want to introduce Cedric because he and I go way back with the Port Authority, and he's had many jobs at the Port Authority. Then went on to the MTA, retired from that, was on the board of New Jersey Transit. An incredible career in transportation, including with the Port Authority, and was a colleague with Sue and many of the others in the Port Authority on 9/11. So Cedric, thank you for offering to be a mentor for our young professionals in this. And let me just give you a chance to say hello and underscore, again, how important we're placing on them as tomorrow's leaders.
Absolutely. And so, Tom, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I always love working with you. Our time together has always been noteworthy. What I found in you is a heart for service and a recognition of the importance of leadership. So when you asked me to participate in this program, it's only a natural. I mean, I believe everything rises and falls on leadership, right? You probably heard that phrase before. And so what I would say to each one of the folks participating, first and foremost, is congratulations. To be here means that you get it, you understand it, and that's the first step of being a great leader, is that you're willing to take the risk, to be vulnerable, do the work necessary to move to the next level. I've had the opportunity to read the book a couple times now, and each time I walk away with a new sense of understanding. But I think the key here is that the exposure that you will get, the ability to sit back and think, and also share with your colleagues what your takeaways from what happened to people following such a very sad day, really a very sad day, very traumatic day, a day that moved people to their core, to their bones. But then you see what came out of that, the resiliency, literally, that manifested as a result of a situation that is really unthinkable. So I'm excited for you because I know that your journey through leadership will position you so that as situations present themselves, as Tom has said, they're happening every single day, you'll be ready to deal with them. You'll be able to deal with them in terms of how you handle yourself, how you handle the people that work for you, how you handle your customers, and importantly, how you deal with your families within the context of all that. Because a leader has to understand that you're only as good as your family, and you're only as strong as the people that are around you. So I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you, and I wish the best for you, and your takeaway from this program leads you to find yourself, and as you're going up your career, that you'll be able to look back on this opportunity and say, we really did have an opportunity to reflect on what it takes to be resilient leaders in these days and times. So I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Yeah, Cedric, thank you. And then, you've had a lifetime of leadership, so and service. So thank you for joining in with us. And thank you also for pointing out about the proaction of our group. And I'm going to give our participants a chance in a little bit, turn the floor over to them to talk about, why they joined this. As I said, we're starting something here that we want to see get going in 2023 and grow and expand and become a useful tool to help the young professionals, those who are going to be the next generation of leaders, develop resiliency skills. But the proaction, thank you for pointing that out for our people. They are the leaders, and you're right. They're, we've got folks from all across the country, many on the call today who are participating in this launch. So proaction is a wonderful term, initiative, wonderful term to apply to that group. Let me continue with the list of mentors. We've got Debbie Rowland, by the way, was the head of the charity and flight attendant charity for American Airlines, worked closely with us in putting the book together. Debbie has since retired from American, but again, a life's a service. She's now a volunteer in schools down in Virginia and is in school today. So she didn't join us, but she's with us, and she's going to be with you throughout the program. That's Debbie Rolla talking about the experience of the flight attendants in the Flight 77 and the DCA experience. And then on the Newark side, I mentioned Sue, but also you've got the United Airlines team there that were colleagues with the crew from Flight 93. And I'm so delighted that Eileen Amiano has offered to be part of this project. And Eileen, I'm just going to let you say one quick hello, and then actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to play the video of you. This is on the website. Then and folks are going to see in this video that you talk about your flight attendants at United Airlines at Newark being a family. But I'm going to let you underscore that for them at the end. But let me tee it up with this video. See if I could get, there it is. And let me play this, and then Eileen, I would love you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about why you're part of this project.
I was based at Newark at United, and at the time, the base was another family. Simply put, it was another family. It wasn't as big as all the other bases, and we got to know each other and had each other's backs. We made it our mission. I mean, I was a flight attendant, and then I was a coordinator, which is their front line, who they first come in when they come into the office. And then I was a supervisor at the end of my career. But I never lost that connection with the friends that I had while I was on the line. We knew everybody. We knew everybody. What made it so special was how close we were. I mean, we were just family. Being so close to the towers, we knew something traumatic, tragic, awful was going on. But then when we found out that one of our flights, Flight 93, was involved, we were stunned. We tried to look in the manual, an emergency manual. We tried to look in the manual like what to do. How do we handle this? My immediate reaction is, I've got to find out who was on that flight, which we were able to do very simply. And I got to get to the families, their families. Our focus was to get to the families of the flight attendants that were involved and offer them whatever they needed. We had a little room off of the check-in desk. And that tiny room started to be filled with gifts and tokens of sympathy to our domicile, to our base, from Delta, from American, from the customer service at United, from all of these different organizations. We even got a rocking chair. Somebody donated a rocking chair because that's always been like a place of comfort. You sit in a rocking chair. So Judy came in one day and saw this and said, we need to do something. We need to continue to take care of the families. We started doing major, huge fundraisers that over a 5-year period raised enough money to build this granite monument off the fields of Shanksville. That's how it kind of developed. We just got together, and over 5 years, we did tricky trades and silent auctions and 50-50s to build this monument. What does it mean to us? It means that there's a camaraderie, there's a connection that's never going to leave us. It's always going to be there. It's just a symbol that, a symbol of what happened that horrific day. And it's also a reminder that doing for others is the best way for us to have handled it all. You know, everybody grieves differently, and there are very many levels and stages of grief. When you focus your energy and your attentions on helping others, you kind of get out of that black abyss that is part of grief. You see that whatever efforts you make can still do good, and there's always light. And then you start seeing light versus the dark that grief brings on. So my advice would be, you know, put your kindness on. Just wear your kindness as much as you can. And what you sow, so shall you reap. Isn't that a proverb?
Thank you, Eileen. And I mean, so powerful. You turn the light, the darkness into light. It's a powerful story, reflected in that little clip about you and your colleagues and what you did to take the darkness and bring it to light again. Again, reclaiming the sky means reclaiming hope, taking it back. And you and your colleagues had a way to do that. And as folks read the stories, you're going to see that each of the groups in Boston, New York, Newark, and Washington, D.C. all had pathways that they created based on their ability to reach down and find the strength to do it, pathways to take back the sky, take back hope. And that's a powerful story that you folks offered, around connection. And if you would just like to underscore that, in a brief introduction to you and Judy and Kathy Denker and others who are going to be working with us on this project, because again, I say this is a program for the young professionals who are going to be tomorrow's leaders, to glean lessons from the stories of you and the others who are profiled. But, we're going on 22 years from 9/11. And as time goes in, the stories, they can fade unless we keep them alive. And I think what you did in that little clip, telling the story about how you and your colleagues came together, on your own to raise the money to memorialize your fellow colleagues and build something at Shanksville that can live on. So just, give a quick introduction to yourself, Eileen, what you're doing now and how, you're supportive of our young professionals. You're still muted, Eileen. You have to unmute.
Oh, okay, here I am.
There you go.
Good afternoon. Well, how can I say? The airline industry is really not the most attractive industry right now. And I applaud all of your participants because they're reaching out for whatever tool that is being offered them to make themselves better, to make themselves ready to take on the challenges. The challenges of the traveling public have grown tremendously since the COVID, and people just don't seem to be nice anymore. Anyway, welcome. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with. And I really, truly applaud you all for participating. And good luck.
No, thank you, and again, I'm happy for that applause for our young professionals who are leading this effort to get something going this year that maybe can grow and become a model. So you met the mentors who are going to support you. What I'd like to do though is just talk about the program itself and how it's going to work. So you're going to read the book. We're going to give you copies, a free copy of the ebook. And by the end of the session today, I'm going to outline how that process will work. But you're going to get a copy of the book, and at your own pace over the course of the summer, you can read the stories. I'm going to send you also a page that you can use, things to think about, to take notes. So when we come back for a session to have you share your thoughts, you can have the opportunity to take notes as you read. That'll be July 26th. You see the third bullet there. We're going to have an online workshop to give you a chance with the mentors to discuss what you learned, and then also to share that so others can learn from you. So let me just highlight the workshop. What is resiliency? This is what we're going to talk about July 26th. What is resiliency, and why do we need it? And then obviously the third bullet, what you can learn from those profiled in the book. But let me open the floor. Like I say, we've got 25 leaders. We put word out around the country that members of ACI who want to participate, those who were under 40 and wanted to participate in this, we were going to take the first 25, and we have that cohort of 25, you. And so I'd like to turn the floor over to anybody who would just like to share, your thoughts on resiliency. You're in demanding positions now with challenges and stresses. You could always be more resilient, obviously, but I'd like to give you a chance to say, to talk about like why you see resiliency as an important skill to develop to meet challenges of the future, which is our goal for you. But I'd love to just you can unmute yourself. We'll just turn the floor over to anybody who would like to underscore why having an ability to bounce back under pressure is an important skill to have in today's aviation industry. Anybody want to share their thoughts?
I can start if you guys like.
Sure, please, Chris.
My name is Chris. It's nice to meet all of you, and thanks for hosting this session. So I think in today's world with everything that's happening, I think resiliency is a key issue for airports, and it's becoming more and more important. Not just with regards to any potential terror threats or things like that, but also, regarding a pandemic or, I don't know, severe weather, operational issues. It could be anything like that. And I think that's why it's a key topic in today's industry. And on a personal note, I think everybody has some sort of memory of where they were when 9/11 happened. And, everybody kind of can, even though it's always hard to think back and to, think about a moment like that, because it's obviously horrible what happened. But I think everybody has some sort of personal connection to it. And so do I. I mean, I was in Germany back then. I was born and raised there, but even over there, it was a big thing, obviously, and people were very sad to hear the news. To make a long story short, I think a lot of things can be learned from what happened back then, and from the way people responded. Not just the aviation workers that were in charge of the operation back then, but also the general public, and how people moved on and kind of healed and just found a way to look forward and tackle any sort of challenges that lie ahead of us. And I think in that way everybody involved learned a great deal from this really bad experience. And I look forward to working with you all on you know how to make this industry a little bit better and how to learn from these challenges and yeah, just move forward.
Thank you, Chris. I think you nailed it there with your point about using this project to explore how the aviation workers who were there on the floor that day, how they responded, because it's in their response that day. But as you read the stories, you're going to see it went on for the days, the weeks, the months, following that. They had to respond on a constant basis to absorb the enormity and then build back from it. And I think you nailed it, Chris, there with, there can be value in exploring how they did it and lessons that maybe, you can use. We're already, acknowledge you've got the resiliency already, but, maybe add to it. So what job do you have, Chris?
So I work with Munich Airport USA. We are a terminal operator and consulting firm. So we do work at different airports in the US. Right. We manage a terminal at Newark. So that's why, okay. I have a very deep connection with Newark Airport as well, since we manage our terminal there, which is new Terminal A. It just opened earlier this year. And I'm DC based. I'm in charge of any new business development. So, obviously, a lot of things happen here in DC as well. So that's why, like I said, there's that personal element as well that I guess all of you have in one way or another. And so.
No, thank you. Yeah, we do have, from all across the country, ACI, obviously, Airport Council International, North America, represents airport service companies in the US and Canada. So we've got folks from all across the country. And I'd like to, we've got time here. I'd like to continue to leave the floor open. If anybody wants to share, thank you, Chris, for sharing your thoughts. Anybody else want to add to that? Why you are sacrificing your time, or put it this way, investing your time in these stories to explore how you can glean tools from them. Anybody else want to share, why you're part of this, and maybe others can learn from you? Anybody else want to share?
Tom, I'll just add, when talking about resiliency, and just to kind of piggyback, like, what we all went through with COVID, right? And we all went through that, and then having to recover quickly and to come back from that, right? So it's just this overall train, is going to be good for all of us to connect. And, those things are going to happen in the future. And it's important that we reflect on what happened in the past, learn from it, and then continue to move on and see how we can utilize that in the future.
Wonderful. Now, was that Brooke speaking? Who was speaking?
Yeah, Tom, that was me, Brooke.
That was Brooke. Well, just, for everybody's benefit, Brooke, just share, I think you're with Aero, if I'm not mistaken. Yes?
Yep. So I'm with Arias, and then I have two colleagues with me as well joining in this group, and we operate restaurants, food and beverage within the airports.
Wonderful. Yeah. And this program for young professionals is open to ACI members who work at airports, but also at the service companies. So is there anybody else? And again, we have the time before we wrap up. And this is a program for you. So, I'd like to give anybody else who wants to share, possibly what you think you can get from this, and why learning about the stories. You met Eileen, and she talked about her colleagues at United Airlines. You're going to, in these stories, meet, I'm guessing it's like about a dozen, maybe 18 people who really are outstanding people that I had a chance to profile. And the book is a way to profile them, and you're going to be meeting them. But anybody else want to share why you think the project might have value for you?
Hi, Tom. Hi, everyone. My name is Antoinette, but I go by Tony. I'm currently working at a regional airport in Tennessee. And I was in third grade when 9/11 had happened. And I remember it being streamed on the big old TVs that they used to roll into the classrooms. And even though I was about 9 or 10 at the time, just being able to work in the aviation industry, I handle like marketing, business development, and human resources. Definitely being a woman in aviation has been, a young woman in aviation has definitely been a challenge. So I would definitely say having that sense of resiliency and being able to work with a bunch of other people, especially men who've been in the industry for 30 and 40 years. And, you know, that's why I'm excited to be a part of the group and to really read into this and hone in on any female aviation leaders that I can really connect my story with.
Well, Tony, let me just say, please, I want to talk to you one-to-one after this, because your point about the being a young woman in aviation, and I'll just share with you that, you know, when I set out to write the book, I didn't set out to write a book. I set out to learn how do we recover, we as a nation recover from the enormity of that loss. And I could see my colleagues, because I was working Boston, New York, and Washington myself during that period. So these were colleagues of mine that I went back to, and I could see that they hit on something. There was something they were doing that was allowing them to move forward. And you're going to see, by the way, in their stories, that there is a distinction that we make between moving on and moving forward. Because very often moving on could mean, you know, loss happens to you and you just bury it to move on, to put it in the past as quickly as you can. But the people who I found in telling their stories, the people who were doing better and the people who were leading and reclaiming the sky, taking back hope, they were moving forward, and they were doing it by finding a purpose, something that they could do to service others, and that moved them forward. But I'll just give you that as sort of a headline on it. You're going to read all about, you're going to read that from them. But to your point, Tony, I didn't, you know, first of all, set out to write a book, but then when I could see the power of their stories, then it became a book. But I didn't set out to write a book about powerful women, but it became a story about powerful women. So I'd love to talk to you after you read this, because, you know, everybody in the book is a hero, but, you know, from Sue Bear, you met Eileen, you're going to meet Debbie, you're going to meet so many powerful, introduced to so many powerful stories. And yes, they're men, but I'm telling you that the leadership exhibited by the women that I found in going back and, as Chris said, you know, exploring their responses. What did they do? How did they do it? And so many of them are women. So I just underscore for you, Tony, you know, your point about, you know, thank you for being a young woman in aviation. And, you know, you are part of this group, going to be tomorrow's leaders. And, you know, thank you for your work today. And thank you for all the great things you're going to do in the future. I did see, and again, I'll be happy to, you know, give the floor to any of our participants, but I just saw that Scott Elmore, if I'm not mistaken, joined us. Scott is the head of communications for ACI. And Scott, if I'm correct, and if you are there, could you just, you know, underscore for our participants? I made the point that this is a collaboration with ACI to support the development of resiliency with our young professionals. But do you want to underscore how the ACI sees that as the young professionals as a very, very critical group in the future of aviation?
Absolutely, Tom, and thanks for having us. And we've always appreciated the partnership that we've had with Tom and his organization over the last several years that I've been with ACI. Tom is correct. ACINA has really put a lot of effort into really growing young professionals across our industry in every discipline of the organization, because we know that the future leadership of our organization is going to come from that YP group. So we are very excited to have so many YPs involved with ACINA. Our industry is one of an amazing story that is very turbulent at times, to use an aviation term. And so we're always looking for those opportunities to engage and kind of show the resiliency of the industry and what lessons have been learned, just like we've seen with the pandemic and the emphasis on resiliency and kind of thinking about the future of travel. It's a very similar conversation that happened after 9/11, that happened in 2007 after the economic crisis, of just how are we leading into the future, and YPs have always been a very important role in that. So always very excited to partner with Tom in promoting YP professional development across our organization. So thanks for having us, Tom.
Yeah, no, thank you for the leadership exhibited by you, Veronica, Nancy, the whole team over there at ACI. And I'm gonna, talk at the end about where all this leads. We're starting it today, and we're going to run it through the summer, and it will culminate at ACI's annual conference in September, with the recognition of from our group today, giving people a chance. You see on the screen there, come back on July 26th for, we call it, a workshop. Basically, what we're going to do is just do another Zoom like this and give you a chance after you read the stories to talk about what you gleaned. What is resiliency? Why is it important? How can you use how can you use lessons and develop them into tools to meet challenges in your future, both personally and professionally? Then we're going to give folks a chance to express that in an essay, and that will culminate with an award event at ACI in September. But just moving forward, let me talk a little bit more about that essay contest. Participants are going to be invited to write a 500 to 700 word essay. You're going to get a copy of the book after this session. I've got everybody's email, and I'm going to send you all a link that you use to download an e-copy. Everybody's going to get a free ebook copy of the book, and the link that I send you will give you a chance to download it. If you have any trouble with that, you let me know. And I'm going to be following up with everybody between now and over the summer as you read the stories, just to touch base with you to see how you're doing with the project. But if you have any problem downloading your free copy of the ebook, let me know, and we'll work through that. You can write your essay at any point between now and we're going to be collecting them. The submission deadline will be August 15th. But you can write it at any point you want. And actually, the earlier the better, because that will give us a chance to share it with our judges and give them enough time to read it and assess them. There's the question for you. What we're asking you to do is to tell what you learned from one or more of the aviation profiles profiled in the book, and how those lessons can help you enhance your resiliency. Because we recognize also, that you're in the industry currently and you already have resiliency strengths, but how can you enhance those off of what you learned from our aviation heroes profiled in the stories, to help you perform at your peak, and then to meet challenges in the future personally and professionally? Because if there can be value in this project, it'll be that, giving you the ability to develop a set of tools that no matter what happens in the future, as you move into your role as a leader in the industry, you've got a set of tools to meet challenges that, as yet are undefined. We don't know what they are, but we can be pretty sure the challenges are going to present themselves. So that's our goal. You heard it from Scott. ACI wants to help develop its young leaders in advance of you becoming the industry's leaders. And that's why we're doing the project. Winners in the essay contest will have a chance to earn awards. We're going to have first, second, and third, 1,000, 500, 250. And by the way, on the website, reclaimingthesky.com, the link to upload your essay, we put it on already. So it's there already. And I'll send everybody a separate link, but it's there. All three winners will receive a free registration to attend the ACI annual conference in Long Beach, September 30th to October 3rd. And again, on our workshop in July 26th, we'll go through that as well. But we wanted to give you a chance to do the workshop and come together and have a chance to discuss these lessons with your colleagues, and then give you still another 2 weeks before that essay deadline. So you can read the book now and write your essay now, or like I say, the deadline will be August 15th, and the winners will be announced on September 1. So So in summary, as we get ready to wrap up, the purpose is to offer a pilot this year, and you're the leaders. We talked about it. You're the ones helping us get this concept going. And again, the concept is, can the young generation learn from the lessons of the 9/11 generation to help them enhance resiliency? And so this is a concept we're testing. We believe that that there is value in it, but we're going to go through it with you and see. And we got 25 of our young professional participants, and we have a group of mentors helping us in the implementation of this that we call a pilot. And then the objective is, like I say, at the annual conference, recognize the winners of the essay contest, and then there will be a certain momentum that comes from this. The objective is to enlist a broad array of aviation partners who might want to join in and help us build it. And that can be aviation service companies, it can be airports. By the way, University Aviation Association, if you don't know, that's an association of 128 schools that offer aviation training programs. And we work closely with, they're called UAA, with them on a number of projects. And they expressed interest to learn about this during the pilot phase, with the idea that, you know, if we get something going here and people see value, we can expand it and bring in students in 2024, 2025 as we grow and build it. Because the objective is, you see the third bullet, to see if we can make this an annual project to prepare aviation workers and students, assuming that it grows that way, to meet the challenges of the future. But then also there's a very important point as we get ready to wrap up. Let me just hit on this point. And that is that, and thank you as well, because by participating in this, yes, we're learning resiliency skills, but the objective also is to help keep the memory of 9/11 aviation heroes alive. You heard from Eileen with her colleagues at Newark that came together and did, you know, what you call them, sticky things or whatever they were, Eileen, that you did raffles, all sorts of things. These were real people coming together in a real way to recognize your colleagues who were real people and were lost that day. And you made a memorial. And we believe that keeping those stories of those real people who were in the middle of it, who rose up, who performed under extraordinary pressure and rose up that day, but then the folks in the book in the days and weeks and months that followed, there's value in keeping their memory and keeping those stories alive. And just for, you know, me on a personal note, I told you that, you know, my objective in this book was to learn for myself, you know, how do we come back from the enormity of that? And I had a chance to learn powerful lessons myself from the people that I profiled that you will meet reading the stories. And you see below 2 United Airlines, these were employees, Marianne McFarland and Jesus Sanchez, who were employees at Logan Airport. And my job the summer of 9/11 was doing customer training programs. And one of my clients was United Airlines at Boston. So that summer of 2001, I worked with all of the agents at Logan to train them in customer service, how to handle stress, that kind of thing. And Marianne and Jesus were in my class. They were students of mine, and they were on Flight 175 that crashed into the South Tower. So, you know, just from a personal standpoint, I believe there's value in keeping the memory of these heroes alive, and give you a chance to read the stories and see if you can glean lessons for yourself that you then could use to help you in the future. So that's it in a nutshell. You go to reclaimingthesky.com. You can see all of the details on this project and how it's going to work. You'll have my email, because right after this, as I mentioned, I'm going to send you the link to the book, and you'll be able to download your copy and start reading. But all the details of how that works and everything we talked about today is at reclaimingthesky.com. And again, the objective is to see if we could do this and see if you get value out of it. And then it can become something that can be helpful to, aviation workers and students in 2024, 25, and beyond. Saying that, let me just turn the floor over again. We heard from some of our young professionals who said that they, signed up because potentially there's value for them in this. Anybody, again, I'll turn it over to any of our mentors or any of our young professionals who, as we get ready to wrap up, just want to underscore why they see value in learning from our 9/11 generation.
Tom, it's Jen. If I may, I have a question.
Please, Jen.
So I'm not sure if you've been able to monitor the chat while you've been presenting. I know that's very difficult to do. But I've noticed in the chat that there are a number of people who have put their email addresses. And to me, that is a part of resiliency, of seeking your network and establishing a new network, because we can all support each other through difficult times and celebrate successes together as well, of course. But because those emails are appearing, I think there is a interest in connecting. I'm not sure if I know you're connected to everyone. I'm not sure if you were planning on connecting us to each other, but if it seems like some people might be interested in that. I don't want to speak for the whole group and say everyone is, but as part of the follow-up of this meeting and with your individual communications, could I suggest that if you weren't planning to already, to please ask people if they are willing to be connected to one another, and then we could sort of publish a group contact list for those who are interested?
No, wonderful for bringing that up. And by the way, in the chat, no, I have not been able to look at it as people. But I do, at the beginning of the program, I said, please put your name and your email in the chat. So anybody who joined us along the way, before we wrap up, do, as Jen says, put your name and your email, because that's going to give us a chance to stay in direct contact with you. Jen, I have a roster of everybody, our 25 participants, and I would be happy to share that with our mentors, so that our mentors see who the folks participating in this, the folks who are reading the book, will write an essay, and then our mentors are going to be the judges in the essay contest. So you're going to get the essays back from everybody. But I love the idea of, and I think Chris mentioned, somebody mentioned, or Eileen mentioned, the idea of connection. Connection is so critical. And to connect the participants and the mentors, I think, can have enormous value. So I would be happy to give them the name, the contact information for each of our mentors, and I could give our mentors the roster. So thank you for bringing it up. And yes, I think if we could come out of this with a stronger sense of connection, that goes to the kind of support we're looking to offer.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, as we get ready to wrap up, like to offer a final word on anything for our participants, value that you get, or any of our mentors like to underscore the the credit and the credit we offer our young professionals for being proactive enough to do this?
I'll go ahead and say something.
Hi, Madison. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Madison. I work at Tulsa International Airport. I'm the safety and security specialist here. So from a young age, I always knew I wanted to go in some type of aviation work. I wasn't sure kind of which route I wanted to go, but I'm a new college graduate. I have about a year of aviation work under my belt so far, and it really shows me how much resilience is meant for this job as well. Kind of piggybacking off what Tony said, I work in our operations unit here, and I am one of the only girls out of 2 that work in our operations division. So I think our CEO here, she is a woman, and she kind of seeked me out. She was like, I think this would be a really good thing for you. Once again, to network for this and to kind of see how the professionals back then were resilient in that type of situation. So, and just to learn from it. So that's why I'm here.
Madison, thank you for that. And you summed it up perfectly. Thank you to your CEO for suggesting this to you. But how were the aviation workers who they came into work expecting a normal day. I mean, they just came in with a gorgeous day in the East Coast. They came in thinking it was going to be a normal day, and they found themselves in the middle of an attack and had to respond. And I think your CEO is right that there can be value in exploring what they did. Back to Chris's point about, like, response, action. And all of you are in a position of leadership now that's only going to grow and become industry leadership. And action is going to be, central. So the more tools you can have, the better. And thank you for participating, and thank you for thank your CEO for suggesting this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if there's anybody else who would like to offer a final word, otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a YouTube of this. We'll put it onto YouTube and share it out with everybody, and those who work precluded them from coming, or family, whatever, couldn't. So we've got a cohort 25. You're going to be hearing from me between now and the 26th. The first thing right after this, you're all going to get an email from me with the link to the book so you can get started. But then we'll keep in touch with you as we get closer to that workshop. And I just want to underscore the importance of that call to workshop. But really what it is going to be a chance for you to come back and share with others lessons that you gleaned and can use. And that'll be helpful to you. But I think by doing it as a group and getting mentor support to give you feedback along the way, that session on the 26th of July can be enormously valuable. And again, for anybody who can't make that, we'll record it and share it. But encourage you all to, read the book, and I know you will, and get as much out of it as you can, and then come back and talk to us about what you learned. Anybody else want to do one final thought before we conclude? Otherwise, I called this to be an hour, and we're all in the aviation industry, so on-time arrival and departure is important. So we're getting ready to wrap up. Anybody want to offer a final thought?
Yes, this is Esther Chitsinde over at HDR, and I'm based in Texas, but worked for DFW International Airport throughout COVID. I guess now it's post-pandemic. But to me, when this call for joining Reclaiming the Sky, the Resiliency Project, came through, it resonated with me because as COVID started raging, we realized that airports are mission critical facilities, and we're at the center of containing some of these threats and helping maintain connectivity between people, goods, and services. So it underscored the importance of my work within the aviation industry more so than I had realized even when I chose the career. So when this call came through, I knew it was something I wanted to participate in so that I can learn, because there's a lot of resiliency that we've projected and shown as we survived the pandemic in our personal lives as well as in our professional lives. But through learning from the experiences and the sacrifices of people during 9/11, those responses were people who rose up and took the challenge to act and to apply lessons they had been learning throughout, and to go beyond, because sometimes we go through a lot of trainings and we build complacency, and these were people who went beyond that atmosphere of complacency or being complacent and acted, and that's why we're here today. So I really appreciate you authoring the book and taking time to record those stories, because those stories are how we learn and how we can positively influence the future, so that even as other challenges come up, we're ready to keep the airport infrastructure and aviation industry moving so that we can provide that essential, exceptional customer experience to everyone who's traveling, including our families.
Thank you, Esther. And yes, and in terms of the book, all the proceeds go to aviation charities. You're all going to get a free copy of the ebook. But I thought what I would do it to Jen's point is I can share with all of our 25 in the cohort the list of everybody else in the cohort, because this idea of connection making, I think it'd be wonderful out of this if maybe you didn't know each other coming in, but at the back end of this process, where you're learning yourself and then sharing with others, we can mold you into enhance the molding of you into a team. And we can do that by helping to connect you. So like I say, you're going to get a copy of the ebook right after this. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I'm eager to follow up with you as we go along. So thank you to our participants, and really thank you to our mentors. You know, you've heard from Cedric today, and Jennifer, and Eileen, and we've got such a wonderful team of mentors that, you know, by the 26th of July, you'll meet more of them. And I'm just grateful to them for taking an interest in you and tomorrow's leaders to invest their time to support you. So thank you, everybody, for participating. Any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And today is the start. Today's the starting gun of this whole process of support for you. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you again July 26th. Take care, everybody.